Okay. So remember, sides are similar, angles are congruent. When they're similar, they're proportional. Okay. So now we have to take care of angle B is going to be congruent to, so that's squiggle equals is going to be congruent to angle E. And then angle C would be congruent to angle F. Okay, so you need all 6 of these things for number 1. So let's go ahead and do number 2 also. So it says QRST is similar to UVWX. Okay, they were nice and actually put them in the same order here, so you can actually see that they are. So QR is similar to UV, so put that down. So QR with the line segment over, similar was the squiggle, and then UV with the line segment. When you're doing letters like this and points like this, they're always capitalized too. You'll get more into that in geometry, but getting a little taste of it right now. RS is going to be similar to VW. ST is going to be similar to WX. And TQ is going to be similar to XU or UX. Okay, you can, a good point to bring out is you can write these either way. You can do XU or you can do UX. It means the same thing. That takes care of my sides. Now we're going to take care of my angles. So angle Q is congruent to angle U. Okay, they match up. So R is congruent to angle V. Angle S is congruent to angle W, and angle T is congruent. So squiggle equals to angle X. Okay, we won't have very many like this that you actually have to list it all. This is just to show you for stuff later on. So let's look at number 3. Does the figures are similar, find the missing length. Okay, so we need to set up a proportion. So this is why we did the proportion worksheet before. So 5 would be similar side, corresponding side to 10. So we put 5 over 10. Now I started with the small triangle. I have to start with the small triangle on my next one. So I went small to big. Now I need to do small to big again. So 5 over 10 equals 4 over B. And then we're just going to cross multiply. So I have 5B equals 40. Divide by 5, B equals 8. So that's how I found my missing side. Okay. So you're going to do 4 on your own. On number 5, that's a 1.9, just so you know. And that's a 2.2. And then number 6, that's a 14.8. And then a 6.2. And then that's a P. 17.2 and a P. Okay. So like if I wanted to set up number 6, I would do 14.8 over 17.2 equals 6.2 over P. Now, some of you might start with something else. That's fine. There's many ways to set these up, but just make sure that it's always the same way that you do it. So like if you start with this arrow and go to that arrow, start with that arrow, this arrow again, and then go to that arrow. Okay, so there's more than one way to set them up, but you should get the same answer. Then just cross multiply and solve that one. Are we good with that so far? Yes, no? Doing okay. Okay. All right, next thing we're gonna have to do is set up a proportion when they give you, it says the scale of a map is 1/2 inch to 20 miles. Find the actual distance corresponding on the map. Okay, so we know no matter what, we have to set this 1/2 inch up to 20 miles. So we're gonna do the 0.5 over 20. Now this is inches over miles. I like to put my labels in there so that way I know where to put the next thing. Well, if they give me inches, I put inches on top. I have to put inches up top here. So I put the 2 here, and then I put the X on the bottom. And then I'm just cross multiplying. So I have a half of x, so 0.5x equals 20 times 2, which is 40. Okay, divide that by 0.5. So take 40 and divide it by 0.5, which gives you 80. And don't forget, it's miles. Okay, so again, we're going to start with the 0.5 inches over the 20 miles equals, now we're going to put in our corresponding thing. I have 3.5 inches. Is that going to go on top or bottom? Are inches on top or are they on bottom? Top. So yep, I'm going to put that 3.5 on top, put x on the bottom, and then I would keep solving. Okay, makes sense? All right. Backside. You're still setting up, still setting up, still setting up. Okay. This one, they're giving you the ratio down here on number 13. So that's going to be your thing. 1 inch is 3 feet. Okay. So then they're asking you for all the dimensions. So they want to know how many feet is this? 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 And then they're going to ask you how many feet is X. So I'm going to let you try that one on your own. If you have problems with that, you can let me know. Okay, so that's worksheet 2.8. Now let's look at worksheet 2.9. This should be a review from last year also. Worksheet 2.9. This is good. You've had it before. Couple ways to do worksheet 2.9. So remember keywords. Is means equals. Okay. Of means to multiply. Percent's always out of 100. Okay. So there's more than one way to set these up. So I'm going to teach you 2 ways, which I taught you last year. So, and then you get to pick which way you like better. Let's do the sentence way first. So using these key terms here. Then if it's written as a percent, you have to write it as a decimal if you do it this way. So it says what percent? Well, I don't know what percent, so I'm going to call it X. Then it says of. Of means to multiply. So I'm going to put a little dot instead of the X sign because we already have an X. Of 42, so I'm going to put the 42. Then it is means equals 28. So then you just keep solving for X. So how do I undo multiplying by 42? Yep, divide, good. So we're going to divide by 42. So I got 28 divided by 42. Yes, it's going to get you a decimal, but then you're going to change that into a percent. So you have 0.66666 repeating, okay? Turn that into a percent. Well, what will, percent's out of 100, so I need to multiply by 100. So moving the decimal twice. And then, I don't care where we round it, 66.7%. We'll try another one of those. It says, what percent on number 2, so X, of means multiply, 48, is means equals 18. So then we're dividing by 48 on this one. Divide by 48, take 18, divide by 48. It's going to get you a decimal. It's going to be 0.375. Times that by 100, which is moving the decimal over twice. So that'd be 37.5%. Okay, let's say that that doesn't make sense to you that way. We want a different way to solve it. That's fine. I tell people is over of equals percent over 100. And I just set them up as a proportion every time using that. So I'm going to try doing that on number 3. So I got to find the word that's closest to is, the word that's closest to of, and then the percent and put it over 100. So it says what percent, so I don't know that. So in my percent spot, I'm going to put an X. It says of 150, of is on the bottom, so I'm going to put the 150 down here. And then it says is 350, so I'm going to put the 350 up here. Now I'm just cross multiplying and doing that like I did last worksheet and the worksheet before. So I have 150x equals 350 times 100. So then I just divide that 35,000 by 150. And that's 233.3. The good news is if you use this, your percent is already where it is and you don't need to multiply by 100. If you do the math sentence way, you need to change it back. So you have to decide which one makes more sense to you. And then always look back and say, does it make sense that it's over 100%? It says what percent of 150 is 350? Well, 350 is bigger than 150, so that is more than 100%. It's more than 200% because 150 plus 150 is just 300. And I'm all the way at 350. So 233% actually does make sense. So we'll do another one of those is over ofs, but we're going to try it on a different section, okay? So like number 7 says, what is, so we don't know the is. So the is, I'm going to put an X. 75%, well, 75 goes in the percent and put that over 100 of 180. So that 180 goes in the of spot, which is in the bottom. Cross multiply. So we have 100x equals whatever 75 times 180 is. There we go. Divide by 100. So x equals 135. Now, if you don't like that way and you want to go back to the math sentence way, let's try number 8 that way. It says what, so what is x, because we don't know what it is, so that's equals 40%. Well, I'd have to write 40% as a decimal, so that'd be 0.4. Of means multiply, so times 720. So you have 0.4 times 720. X equals 288. So I don't care which way you do it, you have to pick which way makes more sense to you. Does that help? Okay, then there's some word problems. Do your best. Let's do one on, like, do 16 and 17. I'll do one way and then I'll do the other way. So I'll do the is over of first, because I personally like is over of because I like proportions. But that's me. So I see is 75. So I'm gonna put that in the is spot. Of what number? Uh-oh, I don't know the of. I'm gonna put an X there. And then I know the 60%. So I'm gonna put 60 over 100. Okay. So I have 60x equals 7,500. Got to divide that 7,500 divide by 60. X equals 125. Okay, 17, if I was setting it up as a math sentence, 115%. Well, I have to write that as a decimal, so I have to move it over twice, so that's 1.15. Of is multiply, what number is x? Is equals 120. And undo my multiplying, I'm going to divide by 1.15, divide by 1.15. I got 104.3 approximately. So I'm just going to round. Okay, so remember, if you're writing it as a sentence, you have to change your percents to decimals and then your decimals back to percents, if vice versa, what it's asking for. If you do the proportion way, you don't ever have to do that. So that's kind of like something you don't even have to think about. Okay, so these 2 worksheets is what you're going to continue to work on tomorrow. There's nothing else tomorrow, just working on these 2 worksheets. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's no lesson quizzes, there's nothing else, just working on these 2 worksheets. Okay, let me know if you have any problems.